Rain hammered the London pavement as Jason Statham stepped out of the dimly lit underground boxing gym. Drenched in sweat, he exhaled deeply, the scent of damp concrete and old leather lingering in the air. It was supposed to be just another night. A few rounds with his old trainer, a couple of jabs to shake off the boredom, then home. But fate had other plans. As he crossed the alleyway shortcut to his car, he heard it. Muffled cries, shoes skidding across wet ground, the crack of flesh meeting bone. Jason's instincts fired up like a fighter's bell. He turned the corner sharply. A teenage boy, barely 16, was cornered by a towering figure, bald, muscled, and mean-looking, dressed in a black hoodie and combat boots. His fists were raised, and from the way he moved there was no doubt. This wasn't some street mugger. This man had training. Controlled, focused aggression. Jason's eyes narrowed. The teen trembled, blood already dripping from his nose. Please. I don't have anything, he stammered. The thug grinned and stepped closer. You looked at me funny, runt. That's all it takes. Jason's voice rang out like steel cutting through silence. That's enough. The thug paused and turned. His eyes widened in recognition. You... Jason stepped forward, calm but coiled like a spring. You've got 3 seconds to walk away. The thug sneered. You think I'm scared of you because you're famous? I'm a black belt in Krav Maga. I've snapped spines for breakfast. Jason smirked. I like breakfast too, but I prefer mine without the hospital visit. The air crackled with tension, and just like that the thug struck first. But Jason was already moving. The thug's fist came fast, slicing through the rain like a hammer, but Jason saw it coming a mile away. With a fluid sidestep, he dodged the eye punch, grabbed the thug's arm mid-swing, twisted, and slammed him hard into the alley wall. Brick met skull with a thud, but the brute only grunted and pushed off like a machine. Nice move, the thug growled. But I ain't done. Jason dropped into a defensive stance, feet steady, eyes locked. Didn't think you were. The teen stumbled backward, heart pounding as the two men circled each other. It wasn't just a street brawl anymore. This was a face-off between two trained fighters, one built on discipline, the other on destruction. The thug rushed again, this time faking high and sweeping low, his kick aimed for Jason's legs, textbook takedown. But Jason leapt just in time, spinning in midair and landing behind him. He delivered a sharp elbow to the back of the thug's neck. Stay down, Jason warned. But the man spun with unnatural speed and caught Jason in the ribs with a brutal knee. Jason staggered, his breath catching for a moment. This guy was good. You're slower than they say, the thug said, wiping blood from his lip. Maybe you've gone soft. Jason grinned, through the pain. Maybe I'm just warming up. The thug charged again, but this time Jason didn't dodge. He ducked, absorbed the impact, grabbed the thug's shirt and lifted, slamming him into the wet ground with thunderous force. The teen gasped. Whoa! But just when Jason thought it was over, the thug coughed, laughed, and rolled to his feet. He licked the blood off his teeth and cracked his knuckles. You hit hard, mate, but I like it hard. Jason's face darkened. All right, he said. You want hard? He stepped forward, slow and steady, every muscle tense like a loaded gun. Let's finish this. The rain intensified as if the sky itself anticipated the storm about to erupt below. Jason and the black belt thugs squared off like gladiators in a forgotten coliseum. There were no cheers, no flashing lights, just blood, grit, and instinct. The thug let out a deep growl and launched a flurry of attacks, jabs, elbows, kicks, all calculated and brutal. Jason blocked the first few, parried the next, but the final roundhouse kick slammed into his shoulder and sent him crashing against a dumpster. The teen watching from the corner cried out, Jason! Jason grimaced, rubbing his shoulder. Okay, he muttered. That one actually hurt. The thug laughed. I'm not some pub brawler, mate. I trained with commandos. I've broken arms in 5 countries. Jason stood up straight, water dripping from his brow. Then you should have learned when to walk away. He charged forward, fists a blur. 1, 2, 3. Left jab, right hook, elbow to the jaw. The thug reeled but stayed up, swinging wildly in return. The two clashed again, like titans. Jason slipped under a hook and drove a savage uppercut into the thug's chin. The man stumbled back, teeth clenched, but instead of falling, he smiled. "Good," he rasped, wiping blood from his face. "Now I'm ready." Suddenly, the thug pulled something from his coat. A small karambit knife, curved, razor-sharp, flashing silver under the alley light. Jason's eyes narrowed. "You bring a blade to a fistfight?" The thug twirled it with expertise. "You're a celebrity. I'm a killer. Let's make it fair." He plunged. Jason barely ducked in time as the blade slashed inches from his neck. The fight had turned deadly. The teen, frozen in shock, watched as the actor-turned-street hero battled a trained killer with nothing but his fists and fury. Jason dodged again, this time catching the thug's wrist mid-swing. They struggled, muscles straining, rain making everything slick and dangerous. "You're fast," Jason hissed, wrenching the thug's arm sideways, trying to disarm him. "But I'm faster." The thug twisted, slipped free, and caught Jason across the cheek with the back of the blade. A thin cut opened. Blood mixed with rain. Jason didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled. "Oh, now it's personal." Jason's eyes locked onto the thug's, knife hand like a hawk. Blood ran down his cheek, warm despite the cold rain. The sting only lit a deeper fire in him. "I gave you a chance," Jason said, voice low and deadly. The thug grinned, circling. "And you wasted it." Jason tore off his soaked hoodie and dropped into a low stance. Bare knuckles, no distractions. He was all muscle and fury now. The thug lunged again, slashing high. Jason ducked, spun behind him, and slammed a knee into the man's kidney. The thug roared and elbowed backward, but Jason had already pivoted. He moved with precision, a ghost trained in the art of war. With a perfectly timed chop to the wrist, Jason knocked the blade loose. It clattered to the ground, but the thug didn't panic. He spun, swinging a dirty punch. Jason caught it midair and twisted. Crack! The thug howled, clutching his wrist. Jason didn't let up. 3 rapid punches to the ribs. Thud, thud, thud. Sweep. The thug lost his balance and hit the ground, back first in a puddle. "Still want more?" Jason growled, standing over him. The thug coughed and wheezed, but grinned. "You don't even know who you're dealing with. This isn't over. You think I'm alone?" Jason's brow furrowed. "What?" A sudden movement behind Jason caught the teen's eyes. "Look out!" the teen yelled. Jason turned just in time to see another shadow leaping toward him from the darkness. A second attacker, shorter, stockier, and wielding a metal pipe. Jason barely dodged the first swing. The pipe smashed into the dumpster, denting it like tinfoil. "Really?" Jason muttered. "You brought backup?" The first thug laughed through blood. "Told you, mate, I don't fight fair." Jason was now flanked. 1 man behind him, 1 in front. Both trained. Both brutal. He cracked his neck. "Good," he said. "I was getting bored with just one of you." He rushed forward, sweeping the pipe wielder's legs before pivoting back and kicking the original thug in the face. The force knocked the man out cold. 1 down. Jason spun to face the second guy, who was already back up and swinging. The teen watched in awe as Jason ducked, dodged, and countered like a machine, like something out of an action film. Except this wasn't a film. This was real, and Jason was fighting for more than just survival. He was fighting for the kid who could have died. The second thug charged again, pipe raised like a sledgehammer. Jason ducked, caught the man's arm mid-swing, and wrenched it sideways until he heard a sickening pop. The pipe fell to the ground. The man screamed, dropped to 1 knee, and Jason finished it with a swift kick to the temple. The thug crumpled. Silence returned to the alley, broken only by the heavy rhythm of Jason's breathing and the pounding rain. Jason turned to the teen, still frozen in place. "You all right, kid?" The boy nodded shakily. I think so." "Thank you. If you hadn't shown up," Jason put a hand on his shoulder. "No need, you're safe now." But Jason's instincts were screaming. This wasn't random. This wasn't some typical alley mugging. These guys had military-level coordination and black belt skill sets. He turned to the unconscious thugs. Who sends people like this to beat up a teenager? Jason crouched and started checking their pockets for clues, IDs, phones, anything. The teen swallowed hard, then said quietly, "They weren't after me." Jason froze. "What?" "I was just the bait." Jason's head snapped. "Around, they said. They said you'd come," the teen whispered. "That you always take the back alley. That if they roughed me up, you'd try to play the hero." Jason stood slowly, jaw tight. "You knew?" "I didn't know they were going to actually hurt me," the boy cried. "They said they'd just shove me around, said I'd get paid. My mom's rent is months behind, I didn't know what else to do." Jason's hands curled into fists. He'd been lured, set up, and someone knew his routine, too. Well, he looked at the teen, eyes narrowing. "Who hired them?" "I don't know his name, but he was American. Scar on his chin, dressed sharp, sounded military. Said he had history with you. Jason's blood ran cold. He knew exactly who that was. Rourke. An ex-Black Ops operative turned rogue mercenary. They'd served together once, until Rourke betrayed their unit for cash. Jason had put him in a body bag. Or so he thought. Apparently, not. Jason stood, tension running through every muscle. This wasn't just revenge, this was war. He grabbed the thug's phone and scrolled quickly. A message blinked on screen. "Did you get the footage? Upload once Statham's dead." Jason exhaled sharply. This wasn't a mugging. It was a hit, and someone wanted proof of his death. Jason stood over the two unconscious bodies, the phone still lit in his hand. The message stared back like a digital threat. "Did you get the footage? Upload once Statham's dead." He clenched his jaw. "Dead? Not tonight." Jason tapped into the thug's phone, opening the recent messages. Most were encrypted, but one stood out, an address in East London, a warehouse with a timestamp, tonight, midnight. He looked at his watch. 11:09 p.m. "Kid," Jason said, turning to the teen who was still shivering, soaked and ashamed. "Yeah? Go home. Get safe. If anyone tries to contact you again, call this number." He handed the kid a burner phone from his own pocket. "Don't speak to anyone else, got it?" The teen nodded. "I'm sorry." Jason gave him a firm look. "Don't be sorry. Just don't be stupid again." Then he walked away, hoodie soaked, boots pounding the wet pavement like a war drum. The warehouse wasn't far. And Rourke? He just made the biggest mistake of his life. East London, 11:43 p.m. The warehouse loomed in the fog like a tomb. Quiet, deceptively empty. Jason slipped in through the side entrance, silent, invisible. Inside, armed men patrolled, unaware they were, pray now, infrared sensors, cameras, even a rooftop sniper, professional setup. But Jason was more than professional. He moved like shadow between crates and machinery, disabling cameras with well-placed screws and wires. One guard turned a corner. Jason caught him in a chokehold and eased him down silently. He retrieved the guard's earpiece. "All units, visual check in 5, keep eyes open. Boss says he might show." Jason smiled darkly. "Oh, I've shown up, all right." He crept to the upper walkway, where he spotted a familiar silhouette by a glowing monitor, scarred chin, sharp suit, cold eyes. Rourke. He hadn't aged, just hardened. Jason slid behind a steel pillar and watched as Rourke spoke to someone on a laptop call. "No, he's not dead yet, but he will be. My guys are all over it, you'll have your footage, and once he's gone, we move to Phase 2. Jason's mind raced. Phase 2? He stepped from the shadows and let his voice slice through the warehouse. "You always did like talking too much." Rourke's eyes snapped toward him, pupils flaring with recognition. Well. Rourke chuckled. "The myth lives." Jason walked slowly forward, no fear in his bones. "But not for long, right?" Rourke's smirk faded. "You're messing with something bigger than you can imagine." Jason raised his fists. "Then let's start small, with your face." The silence after Jason's challenge was electric. Then, boom. Rourke flipped the table in front of him, sending the laptop flying. His jacket came off, revealing a Kevlar-lined shirt and a belt loaded with knives, smoke grenades, and more tools of death than a military catalog. "You always did like the dramatic entrances," Rourke snarled, stepping down from the platform. "But this time you won't walk away." Jason's eyes locked on him. "I walked away last time because I believed you were finished. This time I'll make sure you stay down." They moved at the same time. Fists collided mid-air with thunderous arse. Years of tension, betrayal, and hate exploded into a savage dance of violence. Rourke moved like a soldier trained in every dirty trick. But Jason was a fighter forged in real war, street war, betrayal, and rage. Jason dodged a blade swipe, slammed his elbow into Rourke's ribs, and followed with a knee to the gut. Rourke countered by grabbing Jason's leg mid-air and flipping him into a stack of crates. Crash. Jason rolled out, coughing, then shot back up with a brutal right hook that caught Rourke square on the jaw. Blood sprayed. "You trained with me, remember?" Jason hissed. "You taught me this stuff." Rourke spat out blood and grinned. "And I surpassed you." He lunged, this time with a blade in each hand. Jason grabbed a loose pipe from the floor and met him head-on. Clang, clang, metal clashed. Against steel. Sparks flew. Every blow was meant to kill. Rourke slashed low. Jason jumped. Rourke stabbed high. Jason ducked and countered with a spinning kick to his face. Both men staggered back, breathing hard. "You're good," Jason admitted. "But I've fought worse than you." Rourke sneered. "Yeah, where are they now?" Jason's face turned ice cold. "They're buried. Want to join them?" With a roar, Rourke rushed forward and Jason finally let loose. He struck fast. One punch to the throat, a kick to the knee, disarmed one blade, then twisted Rourke's arm until it snapped with a sickening pop. Rourke screamed. Jason grabbed him by the collar and slammed him into a steel pillar. "Phase 2, Jason growled. "What is it?" Rourke laughed through bloodied teeth. "You're too late. This was never just about you." Jason slammed him again. "Talk." But before Rourke could respond, bang! A sniper's bullet shattered the window above and whizzed past Jason's head just inches off. He dropped instinctively. Rourke slumped unconscious. Jason's eyes went wide. Someone else was still watching. And the war wasn't over yet. The sniper's shot had come from across the adjacent rooftop. Expertly placed, meant to warn, not kill. Jason rolled behind a steel beam, breathing heavy, mind racing. This wasn't just about Rourke. Phase 2 wasn't a bluff. It was a plan. And someone still wanted Jason alive. For now. He looked at Rourke's limp body. No time to wait. Jason grabbed the thug's encrypted phone and bolted, weaving through the warehouse's upper walkways. Another bullet shattered the railing behind him. Whoever was out there had him scoped. Jason dove through a shattered window, rolled onto the fire escape, and sprinted across the rooftop next door. The sniper was gone. But they had left a calling card, a black card, unmarked, except for one small silver emblem, a serpent devouring its own tail. Jason's stomach dropped. He'd seen that symbol once before, on a mission classified so deep, it didn't exist on paper, the Ouroboros Division, a covert group of international mercenaries, ex-soldiers, ex-killers, ghosts of war, who handled black ops no one else would touch. Rourke had mentioned Phase 2. That wasn't personal. It was global. Jason rushed back to the warehouse and dragged Rourke's semi-conscious body to the desk, slapping him awake. "Talk." Rourke coughed blood, laughing weakly. "You're too late, Jason. You think you stopped something tonight? We've already infiltrated your city. Government, police, intelligence." Jason's fists clenched. "What's Phase 2? Rourke coughed again. "It's not about you anymore. It's about control, and it starts tomorrow, with a blackout." Jason's eyes narrowed. "A what?" Rourke chuckled. "London's going dark. Communications, power, security systems all down. One night, one message. We own the shadows." Jason looked at the phone, checked the last message sent. Coordinates. Power. Grid. 4:40 a.m. It was 12:48 a.m. no time. He zip-tied Rourke to a steel post, grabbed the phone and card, and ran. 57 a.m. South London Power Substation. Jason burst through the fence just as a black van rolled up. 4 operatives in tactical gear stepped out. One turned, mask halfway off, the sniper. They saw Jason. Guns were drawn. But Jason didn't hesitate. He attacked. One by one, he dismantled the crew with precision and fury, outsmarting tactics he'd once taught in training facilities around the world. The dare. Sniper tried to line up one final shot. Jason hurled a crowbar straight into his face. The sniper dropped. Jason moved to the van and ripped open the back doors, a bomb, strapped directly into the power relay, wired to detonate on remote trigger. But Jason knew bombs. This wasn't new. He disconnected the relay. Beads of sweat rolled down his face as he cut the right wire. Green, not red. Always green. Click. The lights stayed on. London stayed on. 12. The sun began rising over the River Thames. Jason stood alone on the rooftop, looking over the city skyline. Alive, but changed. Rourke was back in custody, but Ouroboros was still out, there, watching, waiting. And Jason, he was no longer retired. Not after tonight. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number he hadn't used in years. It rang once. Yeah? A woman's voice answered. Jason stared out over the city. I'm back, he said and hung up.